2 words. Blue Origin. Let's get into it, boys. There's been lots of controversy with this launch, you know? And it's really got me thinking. It's gotta be bullshit, right? You know? Like the crew, for example. Look at them. Why we send them? Of all people. Real astronauts. You know? Because I'm pretty sure real astronauts go through years, months, weeks, days, hours of underwater training because it's the closest environment we can get to space. But there's enough makeup and brooms as fucking eyelashes to weigh down that goddamn spacecraft. Tell me I'm wrong. We picked them. There's only 2 scientists on board, and one's a former NASA rocket scientist, Aisha Bao, and scientist Amanda Nguyen, right? What I'm reading off the internet, okay? When we look into it, they had to pass a test, you know? Let me play the clip.
It is my pleasure to tell you, you've passed. Does that make you feel confident? Yes. Does that make you feel good?
It makes it start to feel even more real.
Oh my god, it makes me feel so real.
What is the vibe of the New Shepard crew this morning now that the morning is...
Alright guys, we're going into space. Teamwork.
It's finally here.
Oh, there is so much energy here.
What fucking test? Was it a written test? A, B, C, D type shit? Like, what the fuck are y'all doing, bro? What? You send 5 people to space? Off of what? An exam? Suspect. Contradictory. Tomfoolery. Shenaniganism. Rabble-rousing.
Feel out here with our audience, so it's been really incredible.
Look at this fucking goob. Replay it for the one time.
It's been really
We're gonna play it like 3 times because it's funny as shit.
it's been really
You know what really cracks me up about this whole thing? None of them have spacesuits at all. And Katy Perry is like the main person on that whole group that people are concerned about. Look at the Google entries. Talk about big news for the unemployed. Whoa! So I was just doing some digging, curious on the interwebs, and I figured out that all launches, recreational or not, being rocket or anything related to aircraft, must be reported to the FAA before launch. Now, the weird thing to me is this got approval in December of 2024. It's a little odd, but that's not what sticks out to me the most. When I found this article on the internet, there's 2 main things that really stick out to me, right? Blue Origin now joins SpaceX and the ULA, the Boeing Lockheed Martin joint venture, in competing for contracts under a $5.6 billion Pentagon program. That is crazy. And you might be thinking, why does that matter? Well, considering the fact that Boeing really hasn't had a good track record the last few years of having planes that like to stay in the air for very long. And then you bring in Lockheed Martin in the mix. And a little background on Lockheed Martin, it's basically a contracting agency that is hired by the government or governments to build aerospace technology and weapons for the military. There's so much controversy revolving Lockheed Martin, it's crazy. They make the most advanced aircraft and weaponry for us. Now, Lockheed Martin is one of those companies that specializes in being very secretive. I know for a fact you have to have a very top secret clearance to work there. Otherwise, information gets out to adversaries in other countries that we don't like particularly. But they build the craziest aircraft that you've ever seen. But it goes into depth on another rabbit hole we can dive into. They have this little side project It's called Skunk Works, where they develop the top secret of top secret Area 51 type shit, the underground that doesn't exist aircraft that is crazy. And rumor has it they're the ones that control like the main UFO kind of ideology. Like they create spacecraft from recovered alien spacecraft that has crashed or forcibly been landed here. So let me elaborate a little bit on why the screenshots here are important. Skunk Works, top secret black project developed by Lockheed Martin, right? Shrouded in secrecy. Not many people know anything about it other than the people that work there, that have the clearances to do so. The main reason it's secret is to be unhampered by any sort of bureaucracy. And what I mean by that is, say like, everyone on this planet has certain rules and regulations to follow. The FAA, for example, right? Before any sort of any activity goes into the air, the FAA has to know about it. There's certain regulations that have to be required, such as like it has to have a light system, it has to have a safety structure, it has to have all these things before it even thinks about leaving the ground. Now, Skunk Works can get away with all of that because nobody knows it's there.
I don't know.
So when people say certain things, it makes people think certain things, regardless of context. It could be as simple as a quote, for example, like this one.
What the does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
It's interesting how Blue Origin launched a classified payload just days before the Pentagon requested billions more in space defense funding. You know what else I was looking into? I was curious, and I wanted to look at and see if Lockheed Martin's stock increased day of the launch. It did.
As you can see, Lockheed Martin.
And then adding those celebrities that are on the craft for no reason, you know, one being Jeff Bezos' wife, you know. Then you have household names like Katy Perry, right? And I feel like they added the two scientists, the only two scientists on board, to add like a case of plausible deniability to make it more believable for the public. You're like, oh, we're sending celebrities with scientists. And does anybody else think it's weird or it's just me? But why would you send your own wife on a rocket to space? I mean, rockets fail all the time. You know, look at SpaceX rockets. Some of them blow up. Why would you send your wife, your loved one, on a rocket into the atmosphere? That just doesn't sit right with me, you know? Like, unless you have 100% certainty that everything's going to be peachy, why would you do that? That just doesn't make sense in my head.
Katie!
Like, nothing screams more PR stunt than this.
Watching her best friend go to space.
Alright, Oprah, we need you to cry really hard. We need you to sell it. We need these people at home watching to believe this bullshit.
Hey guys, wait, don't open the door yet. We want to make it a big reveal for Jeff Bezos to come and open the door.
Look, at the end of the day, I think this is just a big, massive PR stunt, and a good reason to bring Boeing back into the picture, especially with all these bad incidences with plane crashes and whatnot. It's also good for defense companies to manifest their money from the government and spend it on more things. You know, why did we send celebrities to space if they did go to space? I think it's pretty obvious. You know, they're big people of power, right? They're all women, of course. I'm all for female empowerment or whatever, but like, it's to send a message to the public. Let's be real. It's a big PR stunt. You want to have these big people in media and music, and they have all this power to influence the masses, so why not send them, you know? And they're kind of people that have kind of, you know, like, why? Why? The only plausible explanation, I think, is just to, you know, fulfill some sort of picture that didn't need to be filled. But I think the whole thing is just bullshit. Real or not, at the end of the day, it was 100% a PR stunt, and I feel like they could have done a better job, you know, especially with all that money. You know, if they made all that money beforehand, and all these companies that they were working with, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, et cetera, had all this money, they definitely could have done a better job at doing that. And there's just so many things that don't sit right with me about this whole situation. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think, though, down in the comments. Let me know what y'all want to see next. Deuces.